You go from self-destructive, self-sabotage, self-loathing to you hit a breaking point and you said, I need to start self-discovery. I had to get sober. I didn't have to. I desired to get sober because I was tired of self-sabotaging. You start investing in you. You start focusing on you. You start saying, I want to improve some things. It becomes the purpose of your life. The greatest gift that I've ever given myself is the gift of self-mastery. It means that I can trust myself in any situation. We're meant to be challenged mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It builds our character. My challenges have not gotten easier. I've gotten stronger and more grounded. It's not being childish. It's being playful. It's being childlike. Breaking free of the box is realizing you're one of one. Go fly. I believe in being the total man. And the missing piece for so many men.
Greg, how are you doing today? It's great to meet you.
It's great to meet you too, Alexander. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. It's a real honor to be here with you and your audience. And I'm excited to have this important conversation with you today.
We got connected through the magical world of the algorithm. And man, your authenticity really stood out in the video I saw. And it made me want to reach out to you, connect and hear your journey, tell your story. And someone that also, it feels like you're deeply passionate about the emotional hardwiring and who we are as people and like what goes on within our beings and our experience. And so I'd love to go there and understand who are you and what have you done? Tell me about your journey.
Well, first off, thank you so much. As from one man to another, I think the heart of this conversation needs to be men seeing each other. We need to see ourselves first, but to be seen by you, by the energetic communication that's coming from me as I share my story is really powerful. And I think that's the time that we find ourselves in the manosphere and just in this world, is that, no longer is it the suck it the fuck up culture. Is it really bringing men what we need, right? The bag, the girl, the body, there's something different. And that does take me to my story. And so my name is Greg. I have a company that's all focused on self-improvement called Results Kill Excuses. And that really came as a mantra as I hit my own, one of my many rock bottoms, but my last rock bottom 12 years ago, which was a place where I was so broken that I needed to do a few things. And first off was I needed to get honest with myself, look in the mirror and say, I needed to break up with my addiction. And that was primarily focused on alcohol. And lo and behold, breaking up with alcohol didn't solve all my problems. I went on a healing journey. And my second thing is I asked for help. I'm a military veteran. And so I have a lot of benefits and resources, which not everybody has, in terms of being able to get mental health care. And it was a big bridge for me to cross, right? I think one of the issues that most men have is I don't think most men in this world feel that we have the communication skills to be able to ask for help. And even if we did, I don't think a lot of men feel they're worthy to have the help that they so desperately need. And what I've learned in my own journey is it's self-rescue. And so I had to get sober. I didn't have to. I desired to get sober because I was tired of self-sabotaging. I was tired of hurting people I loved and knowing that success didn't fix the problems. A sexy weekend getaway didn't solve the problems, right? Making more money didn't solve the problems. I was the problem, and I needed to know why I was the problem. And that is what leads me on this journey today about healing the emotional trauma, expanding our emotional vocabulary, and really doing life on life's terms is what I call it. No escape routes. To be able to sit there in the pain, in the discomfort, and say, okay, I can handle this. I can handle this. And if I can handle this once, that means I can handle it 1,000 times. And in doing that, I become a better version of myself each and every day.
Dude, that's awesome. Man, rock on. How is your sense of self, your personal journey then? How do you describe your new sense of evolved sense of self?
Incredible. I always like to say the greatest gift that I've ever given myself is the gift of self mastery. And what does self mastery mean to me? It means that I can trust myself in any situation. And I used to not have that. I was doing a coaching session with a client last night, and we were talking about a lot of similar circumstances that I think a lot of men relate to, where it's like, what I've learned about my self awareness is that when I was a little guy, little Gregory, me and my mother experienced a tremendous amount of trauma, a tremendous amount of violence at the hands of my biological father. And that created a trauma bond. It created codependency. And something that's really hard for men to admit is I was carrying around a really scared, insecure, unlovable little boy inside of me. So it didn't matter how tough I was, military, tip of the spear, badass motherfucker, right? When I got triggered, when I felt like someone wasn't loving me, someone's not appreciating me, that trigger would get pulled. And the thing that I've learned is that all the self control in the world is not going to stop that program from playing out. Well, what's that program? That programming it's meant with the best intention, but it's not being channeled in a healthy way. Because what I've realized is, if I had a scared little boy inside of me, if a situation presented something that triggered that fear, that scaredness inside of me, the adult version would kick in the door to save the day, to protect the emotion, that protect that little boy. And oftentimes it would be a lot of destruction. It would be pushing people away. It would be hurting people that are innocent, right? Didn't need to be hurt, because maybe they themselves were feeling upset by something I had done or said. And so what I've learned about my own dysfunctional self, in terms of not having uh, greater emotional fluidness, which is, if I'm scared, my way of communicating to someone I love that I'm feeling scared, it wasn't through words. It was saying, I'm scared. This child is scared. I want them to feel how I'm feeling. Well, what would I do? I'd get angry. And so that anger then what? Leaves someone else feeling afraid. And somehow that is how I communicated. And I know a lot of men specifically can relate to this, where it's like, we were demonstrated throughout the course of our lives how we should behave. And it's like, a lot of people don't want to realize this from 0 to 10 years old, right? We're all we're doing is recording the experiences. So if we had a abusive father or a neglectful mom, right, guess what? We've learned how to be abusive and neglectful. And here's the kicker. When does it stop? When does the blame stop? Right? Because if you just keep going back, okay, well, someone hurt me, well, someone hurt them. I have something that says hurting people hurt themselves first. And then we go and share that pain with someone else. And that just is a way to empower ourselves to take extreme ownership. And I know that that really triggers a lot of people, is to say, it is, I need to take responsibility for this. And then that's where, again, I really talk a lot about what I call total health. So mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health, right? And I know a lot of men, even my own experience, where I got really great shape, but when I had a breakup, right, who showed up? Was it a solid man that was very confident and fluid? No, it was a broken man. So the emotional piece wasn't there. I have gone through seasons where I was a very spirit-filled man, a very religious man, and I was very judgmental. I was very unhealthy physically. And so the real conversation that I believe is happening, as I believe we are really as humanity starting to transcend, right, from a lot of the 3D old world model into a more spiritually evolved version of humanity, is to become healed on the inside.
And when you're healed on the inside, like what do you value then the most?
The greatest gift each and every day is life. The second greatest gift is connection. And so the mantra with me in results kill excuses is 1% better every day, no days off. And so when you're healed, when you truly do have a sense of self mastery, and it's a constant improvement, right? It's not me versus you, right? That's ego. For you to win, I don't have to lose. For you to have the most incredible, successful podcast, no one else has to lose theirs. But the ego is going to tell you, I'm not good enough. Comparison, right, is the thief of joy. And so this self-awareness, which here's the process. You go from self-destructive, self-sabotage, self-loathing to you hit a breaking point and you said, I need to start doing some self-discovery.
Hmm.
And that self-discovery is you start asking some deep questions. Who am I? What do I love? What do I hate? What do I want and why? Once you get there, then it starts to become self improvement, looking in the mirror versus looking out the window. When we're looking out the window, we're trying to solve everyone else's problems. We're judgmental, we're critical, when we just need to look in the mirror. That's the answer to all of our issues, all of our hardships, all of our pain, all of our suffering. And ultimately, it's the fulfillment of our life's purpose and our calling. And that eventually leads you into self awareness and self mastery. And the beautiful thing is, once you do transcend this process, which is a spiritual awakening, you do get to a place where there's not competition. I see you, you see me, we're one. And you want people to succeed. And then, like, as much as I've tried to stuff this away, I'm an introvert, man. Like, I've tried to stuff this away and it won't go away. I continue to connect with God and spirit and the divine, and it continues to flow from within me.
Hmm. Well, I love the analogy of like looking in the mirror, right? It's like, in a way, if you can look at yourself and accept yourself, then whatever you see outside of yourself, you're kind of in a state of acceptance, and it makes the transition from not being enough to feeling you are enough to then having enough. You know, the propagation of negative thoughts and the identity crisis that people go through in different degrees. You've been through your handful of traumatic experiences. Everybody, people listening to this, like they can resonate the hardships that they've gone through.
Mhm.
But in a way, being human and here alive at this time on the planet, every hardship is a secret jewel. It's a gift that helps you probe deeper, would you say, into your purpose, into who you really are, into shedding away the identity or the self that's no longer serving you, so that you can then process and then get to understanding what you couldn't do. You couldn't understand yourself deep enough if you didn't go through the pain of burning away.
Yeah, I do agree with everything that you just said, and I believe that your audience, all you beautiful people listening and watching the show, you're chosen, right? And a lot of people don't want to be chosen for what? What did I choose? I didn't choose all this bad stuff that happened to me. I don't know about that. Like, I've gone through some deep explorations, Akashic record, and you know what? A lot of people, it's like, do we truly believe what we believe? And that's a big part of this unwinding process. And what I have started to realize is it takes a lot of courage, right? It takes a lot of courage to look in the mirror because is so much self-hatred. Our image of self is at like literally at an all-time low. And we're so inundated with social media and looking at everyone else. And again, it's looking out the window, right? They say comparison's the thief of joy, but we are so ashamed of what is going on within ourselves. Most people, I've been talking about this recently, we all need to just slow down. Like, slow down. Slow down your thinking. Slow down your breathing. Slow down your driving. Slow down your life. I always point people, connect with nature. Kick off your shoes, kick off your socks, go to a park, go to an open space. Like, slow down. The hurry, the rush of like, oh, I got to do 50 things at once, that even when you are doing something that you should really be present and enjoying, you're not enjoying it because your mind's 50 other different directions. And it's like, that is where the perfection is when we are truly present, because when you are truly present, then you tap into your awareness. And you can know that you're aware, because when you fully are aware with your body, getting out of your mind into your heart and into this vessel that we've been given, right? You don't identify as man, woman, rich, poor, right? Wounded, unwounded, like none of that. It's just awareness. It's life force energy. And everyone is still like, there's so many people struggling. What I've realized, if you understand the 5 stages of grief, there's denial, there's bargaining, there's depression, and there's anger. Those are the first 4. If you just look at those first 4, you could almost apply that to just about everyone you meet, that someone's either in denial about something that happened in their life, right? They're bargaining, wishing things were different. They're depressed, looking in the rearview mirror, or they're angry. And it's like, we grieve all kinds of stuff. This isn't just losing someone. A lot of us are grieving that we're not young anymore. We're grieving that we got gray hairs, that we got wrinkles, and it's like, the goal is to put on the wall the final phase, which is acceptance. Because as you mentioned, the thing about this is that we're programmed for conformity. But yet everyone is literally one of one. There's no 2 people alike, but yet we all want to be conformed. And what is that? That's our deep desire to feel like we belong, to feel like we need acceptance. And then that even just creates even more feedback of grief, because someone can tell us, I love you one day, and then they're gone the very next and never to talk to you again. And yet that's all externalized, which I do believe is a part of this whole experience. Is from the earliest age, many of us can realize that we're programmed to depend on things outside of ourselves. When I think the true purpose of this life is to awaken to a point that it's like, you got to go within, man. And once you do, you realize that you have everything. If you're listening to this right now, I'm telling you right now, you have everything you need to succeed. You don't need me to help to guide you. You don't need the dream house, the dream car, the dream job. You have everything you need to succeed. But it's being what it is that you desire, then doing it, and then you'll receive.
Mm-hmm. What's the practice that you have, either to get the day started or to get yourself back into alignment when you're progressing and things go wrong? You miss the opportunity, or something doesn't go your way, or you meet somebody in reality that you have a confrontation. What's your practice to find back that equanimity?
So there's a few questions in there, and I'll share with you at least the first part first, which is, what's my morning routine? What's my daily practice? And I do have a 5 step daily principles that keeps my cup full, energetically speaking. A lot of people are running on empty, right? A lot of people are just exhausted. Here's how I keep my cup full energetically, and I'll keep it simple. Mind my mornings, eat my health, move my booty, learn something new every day, and lend a hand. And so to recap that, my mornings start with positive affirmations. If you realize that there's 4 basic emotional states of being: happy, mad, angry, sad, 3 out of the 4 are negative. They're low vibrational. So what does that tell you? That should tell you that you have to be intentional about positivity, filling your mind with positivity, because your brain is not going to do it naturally. You're not going to just wake up one day and say, "I'm a happy person and I'm going to always be happy." That's bullshit, really. So for me, it's I start every day, boom, positive affirmations, just washing my mind, man, positive affirmations. Then I get into some breath work. I journal every day. I do some recap and reflection. One of the big breakthroughs that I've done recently that's helped me to really progress is I'm getting away from goals. When we say goal, if anybody's ever played sport, it's like there's the goalpost. It's outside of you. There's the soccer goal. It's something that is away from you. What I am now trying to coach and guide people is to write down 3 things every single day that matter to you. Because when it matters to you, it becomes important. It's personal. This matters to me, right? Eating healthy today, exercising, taking some time to connect with nature. And these 3 things matter to me. I'm gonna make them happen. And so that would be part one. Part two, it's really that if you find yourself in a place where you're still not able to, it's shifting from saying, I need to have more self-control. That's not gonna work. You need to have self-awareness. And the only way you're gonna get the self-awareness is by doing the work. And I got therapy coming up here in a couple hours. I still go to therapy. I don't think therapy is gonna solve all your problems, but I can tell you that here's a huge pro tip on this self-improvement journey. Most of us, when we're dealing with emotional baggage or stress or frustrations, who do we go to kind of get feedback from? Our lovers, our family, our friends. None of those people, I am so sorry, but none of those people are qualified to handle your emotional baggage. They're just not. They just didn't sign up for it, and they're dealing with their own shit. So it's super, super important that you find someone that's neutral. Find a coach, find someone that you feel like you resonate with. I mean, it brings me the greatest joy that when I do just put my message out there through my channel, that when people say, man, like, you can tell when somebody is hearing it. And there's a difference between hearing it. I'm not there for entertainment. I'm sending a message of life. And so a lot of people reach out to me because there's a connection, and that's a good thing. I need to have people that I can trust and confide in, that are neutral, that there's not some an attachment with that person, that they may filter through some other type of beliefs that are not neutral to you. So it's really important, right? If you're dealing with something that's stressful, is to go to a neutral source. I also talk a lot about going to God. Spirituality is a big part of this journey. We're spirit. You're a life force energy having a human experience. Most of us don't even connect with that. But throughout my journey, I'll give you an example because it's here, right? A lot of us, we have the pressure of the world on our shoulders. And so when we have big decisions in life, a lot of people in this day and age are indecisive. We don't know. Should I leave this person or stay with this person? Should I apply for that job, not apply for that job? Should I ask this person out? Should I not ask this person out? Right? Should I cut my hair or leave my hair long? No matter what it is, if you're ever in a state of indecisiveness, I coach people to go to God. And a lot of people will be like, wait, because again, we've put God in a box. It's supposed to be this or that. And it's like it's divine source energy, right? It's a part of every single one of us. But I can promise you, if you're willing to allow this to happen, I'll give you something that's very practical. If you're needing confirmation for something, and it works every single time, 100% guaranteed. You have something that you want, some confirmation, and this really starts to empower you because you take some pressure off yourself. You realize that there are forces greater that are unseen, that are at play with you. It's even a test of the matrix philosophies. So you gotta set an intention saying, hey, I need confirmation. I did this recently about a relationship. I said, if I'm supposed to release this person, I want to find a expensive piece of jewelry. And there's two pieces to this. You need to ask for confirmation for something that's really rare. Like if it's the middle of winter, you're going to ask to see a butterfly, a yellow butterfly in the middle of winter. It needs to be something incredibly rare. And number two is you can't put a timeline on it. So you can't say, if I see it by in 5 minutes, then I got my answer. You kind of set it and forget it. And the third thing is, again, keep it private. Keep an insulation of a sacredness between you and spirit. You've set this intention, you see it in your mind. It's the middle of winter. If you see a butterfly, it's going to give you this answer, and you keep it to yourself. You can tell people, oh, yeah, I'm seeking a confirmation, but they're going to be like, well, what is it? What are you asking? And then again, you're allowing energies to come in, and that's going to disrupt. So I asked for this confirmation recently. And there I was, like a little kid, looking. Where I'm looking, right? Because I didn't want to just find cosmetic jewelry. I wanted to find, an engagement ring, a diamond earring, a gold chain, like something very valuable would be the thing that, like, for me to just stumble upon something really significant. There I was, like a little kid going everywhere. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And before you know it, like a few weeks went by, a month went by, I kind of totally forgot about it. And there I was towards the end of the summer doing something that I had kind of let slide, which I'd been on a lot of road trips. And I said, you know what, I really need to clean out in my truck, which is like an overland build. And so I'm out there cleaning the truck and I saw something on the ground. And I can tell you in my mind, I'd seen that thing several times throughout like the most recent weeks. But I'm so busy. We're so moving so fast that I didn't really say, what is that? Until I'm there cleaning my truck, clearing air, clearing energy, cleaning the space, getting rid of the clutter, that I stop and I say, what is that? And out of the ground, a muddy, dirty road is like a 20-carat
Wow.
gold bracelet. This is not cheap. And what's beautiful about it is like the pattern on it is like an infinity symbol. So there's, and it just blew me away. I'm like, no way. This is like, and I can guarantee you, even if you're someone that's just questioning the existence of God, ask, right? Hey, I want a confirmation. If you exist, I want to see a majestic eagle, fly over my house. I guarantee it. It'll work. Put it to the test. And you can always reach out to me if you have some doubts.
So put it to the test by having the intention, right? Connect with the matrix, connect with God, and something that's irregular. That would be a pattern disruption, maybe something you're
Mhm.
looking for actively, so that the timing can arise, and then not have a time commitment and just let it go off. And it's almost like your default mode network. You kind of let the sphere of happenstance just reveal it. It's like when that thing where if you look for things in your room that are red and you try to focus on that, you kind of build up your
Mhm.
labeling system, like your reticular activation system, and then you kind of notice it. It's funny
Yep.
how the brain and God kind of work together and can help produce something like that. And that's incredible that you found that on the ground.
Yeah. I think so, man. And I can If you're seeing the synchronicities and the alignments, I mean, it's every day. Every day when you are aligned, right? Everything starts to click. That doesn't mean that things get easier, but the thing is so many of us have become so programmed that we want it to be easy, but there's no growth in easy. We need to embrace challenges. We're meant to be challenged mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's really what produces this essence of who we are. It builds our character, right? It's like this journey that I've been on. My challenges have not gotten easier. I've gotten stronger and more grounded and rooted, right? Like that masculine energy. I always paint that picture of, if you've ever seen, a peninsula on a coastline, right? Doesn't matter if it's high tide, low tide, big surf, small surf, you don't ever see them rocks getting, I mean, they get bashed with the water, and that's like the feminine, right? That flow and the emotions, and the rock is stable, right? It's stable, and we get to just be that. And that's been one of the biggest healings, especially for the masculine, the men in the audience here, is that was the piece I was missing. I had to grow up really fast when my mom started a new family at 12 years old. I wrote a story of abandonment. She was my only, like, the world was only safe with me in my mom's arms.
Mhm.
But then there she goes and starts another family. And so I write a story of abandonment. That adult part of my character started to get developed at 12 years old. Well, that's a very immature adult, if you ask me. And I definitely can look at the patterns of my life saying that guy lacked the roots of maturation, of masculinity. And the way that I was able to become more masculine, rooted, and grounded was by connecting with the divine feminine, with the emotional side of who I am, is to truly now understand that, wait, my mood just shifted. I'm not angry. I have no reason to be angry right now. I'm overwhelmed. I'm nervous. I'm sad. Let's be sad. Let's be nervous. Well, what's going on in your life? Well, all these things are going on. Okay, that's valid. We can be nervous. And then we can now pull back in a healthy, secure way. Tell this other person, hey, you know what? I need a few minutes, or I need a day. And then let's have a positive conversation, right? About what's really going on here, versus a reactionary, immature version. And we've seen it. We've all seen it, in our behaviors. And if you are seeing it, I can tell you there is a way for you to heal that. There is a way for you to regain trust. And it starts by having the awareness that it's happening, and having the willpower to say, I want to do something about this, and asking for that help.
Taking like a new direction, you almost want to like make a new choice rather than just kind of operating with your same subconscious pattern. How have you experienced the like new tools, or maybe in the therapies that you've been like, what have been the epiphanies, the discovery moments that you've had that have helped you reprogram your subconscious?
I can tell you the biggest breakthrough that I had was with my therapist. She started doing this crosstalk with me. And when I say crosstalk, it was, she started identifying, hey, I want to have a conversation, because she was hearing the conflict that I was having with a partner, with a lover. And she's like, okay, I want to have a conversation. She's like, I want for Gregory, right? Your inner child. I want little Gregory to tell the adult, who for me, that's G Dog, and Greg is the super parent, which I can tell you a little more about that in a minute. But the breakthrough was the fact that she started doing this crosstalk, saying, I want to have your inner child talk to your adult, and I need them to hear each other. And then I need for the adult to then talk to the inner child, maybe even do some forgiveness, some reconciliation, having some feeling seen, feeling heard. And it was like in a few sessions of this, it was like a light bulb moment and like the head exploding, saying, "No way. This can't be it. This cannot be what's truly going on inside of myself. That I have been at war and conflict with myself based on the fact that I couldn't even just see who was at the table." Right? I'm literally thinking that, wait, why can't I have control over this when it's like I know that my adult with the purest intentions was only doing the best that he could to protect that little guy. And it was like for the first time in my life, I felt whole and complete. I'm like, wait, time out, man. I am not against myself. I love myself. This is like the best team on earth. I'm like, wait, I'm never going to abandon myself. I'm never going to reject myself. No way. If this is what it's about, little guy. So here's the thing with my upbringing. My mom had me at an early age. We experienced all the trauma we experienced. So I had a wounded child, I had an immature adult, and then this third piece is the parent. The parent was really never developed because I never had a
Because your
parent role
father
model.
wasn't in your
Little
life?
bits, yeah, fatherless father, man. He was, because of that violence, my mom literally had to just excommunicate, and there was a lot of crazy shit that happened along that journey.
Yeah.
But the parent was never developed. The beautiful thing is this is the way to do the reprogramming is, you know, the way you do this, the way that I've done this is when I finally found the courage and the clarity to get into the deepest, darkest part of my soul, which I do believe is where the truth lies. It's not demons and it's not dragons that need to be slayed, right? That's just our own perception. Those are limiting beliefs, and that's like out there that we if you think about it, then that's your reality. It's the difference between someone saying I can't do it and then I talk to somebody else and they say I can do it. I'll give it a try. Well, both people are right. Cool. You're not going to do it and you're willing to try it. Great. So I get to the door, deepest darkest part of the soul. Do you have any idea what's in there when I open up the door?
What's in there?
Do you have a guess? Do any of you have a guess listening? So it's your inner child. And for me, he was sad. He was scared. He was alone. And if you think about your own life, there came a point in all of our lives where we've all told ourselves, okay, I can't do the kid shit no more. Time to be an adult. Right. And we lose that. We you don't lose that part of you. You neglect it,
It's like that mask kind of gets like
thinking that,
put down to the side and it just returns back into your unconscious contents.
yeah.
And it kind of, yeah, doesn't get loved and it doesn't get appreciated or integrated.
We'll talk about the fountain of youth in a second. So you get into that door, you see this child, the person that you have to show up as, and I'm seeing 1111 on my time here, which is good. The person that you have to show up as at that door is the super parent, the super dad, the super mom, right? That is loving, accepting, kind, understanding. Like, and so I had to create that. And we all have the power to reparent ourselves, to give ourselves the parent that we always desired. This is the self rescue. This is how you nurture and care for yourself and love yourself and really validate yourself, right? And the more that you do that, you become so magnetic that everything comes to you. But that is not the only thing that's in that room. There's a lot more. Do you want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess what else is in that room? Some of y'all have probably seen it. What else is in that room, Alexander?
With your child,
Hmm.
I want to say maybe your family or the close ones, projections of either like your desires, your like deepest desires.
You're definitely tapping into some stuff there. What's in there is everyone that's ever hurt you.
Mm.
This chamber is your shadow side. It is the deepest, darkest part of your soul. It's all the stuff, the guilt, the shame, the hurt, the pain, the embarrassment. It's all of that in there. And again, super dad, super mom, right? This transcended version of self needs to show up there and have eyes of compassion to say, you know what? I see all of these souls as souls. I don't see them as people that have hurt me. I know that we all collectively chose to do this in the spiritual realm, to be trainers, to be teachers, to be guides, that I can disconnect from my ego, from my hurt, from my energetic blockages that somehow say that this person did that to me and I can never let go. I can never forgive because that is what you need to do in this moment. It's the opportunity for you to say, I forgive, I release, because no one's innocent. The thing is I've coached myself. I call myself the greatest accountability partner on planet Earth. And that's because I was able to get this guy to be full of self accountability. And that means that I can help hold a lot of other people accountable that can relate to these types of experiences. And yet that forgiveness piece, no one's innocent. I was coaching a guy the other day and we think time heals and it doesn't. I talk to people 60s, 70s, and then we're talking about being a child, and then, they're madder than hell and getting triggered. And it's like, wait, man, I thought time healed. I thought this was old. No, it ain't old, right? Every time that we suppress and avoid, it's like you put a little vial of pain and poison inside of you, and it doesn't go away until you learn how to process these emotions. And that takes connecting with your emotional state of being. But ultimately, the thing is that if you don't heal your pain is going to is going to hurt someone else. So someone hurt you, so you're carrying around this anger and this heart of unforgiveness. You're drinking poison, hoping someone else dies, but you're seeping out poison on innocent people. So it never ends. And so that you have to transcend your pain and start to look at it from a spiritual perspective of saying, it happened for me, not to me.
Yeah, that's powerful. It happened for me, not to me.
And that's everything in life. And there's heinous shit that's happened to people. I get it. I know. I'm so sorry that those bad things happen.
Yeah.
But can you just step back to say that something happened to the person that hurt you? And something happened to you. And if you think you have not hurt people innocently, like that alone is the awakening. I mentioned a moment ago the fountain of youth. So the what I have found in the fountain, what is the fountain of youth? It's to reconnect with the inner child. So I'll ask your audience, right? What are some of the things that you loved to do when you're a little kid? Right. We'll start with you, Alexander. What were some of the things that you were just, man, you just loved to do when you're a little guy? What were like some of your favorite hobbies, favorite activities? What did you love to do when you're a little guy?
Man, be in the forest catching lizards and snakes, role
Oh,
playing
that's
Lord
so
of the
fun.
Rings, like picking up sticks with my friends and just being on the backward trail, like, inspired by Steve
I love
Irwin, the
it.
crocodile guy, and like catching stuff and
Aw,
being an adventurer.
that's so awesome. I love all that. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you did those things? When was the last time you went and caught a lizard or a snake or, just pretended to be a biologist, zoologist, just every animal you see just send, "Oh, I love you so much. I love that little squirrel and that bird and that bug," and just getting out there. Last time you've given yourself permission.
I it's been a while. There was like a year or two ago where my neighborhood friends, we were at my friend's house, and the water was kind of receded so we could like get into the ocean because he's living on the ocean basically. Um, it
Nice.
receded enough, and then we just kind of did like little kids. We just went behind everybody's house and just walked all the way down and just kind of just played around, and it was fun. Like as adults, just like a gang, probably like, what are these guys doing? Like in the back of these really nice houses, what mischief they're up to,
Yeah.
but it was fun.
And that's the fountain of youth. And the thing is that we need to give ourselves permission to do the things we love to do. For me, I love to go fishing. I love skiing. I love doing all the stuff too with action figures and playing and being out in nature, swimming around, jumping in rivers and lakes. And it's like, when the more you tap in, and it doesn't have to own your life. You don't have to like completely coddle and overwhelm your inner child. But the fact of the matter is that if you love to go roller skating, you have not roller skated in 20 years, it's time to go roller skate, but do it with intention to be like connecting with whoever your inner child is, identify them, see them, hear them, and say, hey, what would you like to go do? And it's as simple as what you just said. You lit up. You said you had a fun experience. Could you imagine if you actually gave yourself permission with intention to go do that twice a month, every month? As something that matters to you, to tap into that playfulness. It's not being childish, it's being playful, it's being childlike. We are missing this.
Hmm.
People are so sad and miserable. Dude, every single day, 2,000 men kill themselves. Every single day,
What?
right? 50% of men
You're like,
overweight. 2,000 men on this planet every single day.
wow,
This facts,
that's crazy.
right? This is facts. And the sad thing is it's skyrocketing in older men over 55.
Mm.
And what that tells me is that men specifically, this is a lot of my target audience. I always say 90% ish of my message is energetic, universally applicable. But, I definitely am speaking to men because of this urgency that men are literally carrying around so much pain. They're so disconnected from that little boy inside of them. They've been told, oh, you want to cry? I'll give you a reason to cry. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not working, man. I heard a big influencer the other day talking about how do you get over a breakup? Well, get in another relationship, get the faster. And it's like, nah, man, that doesn't do it. Nothing, you haven't fixed anything, because the reason why the relationships keep ending and there's not any kind of consistency and commitment is because here's the deal. If you want to improve the relationships that you have with other people, guess what? You got to improve the relationship you have with yourself.
And that like inner
It all
child
starts,
relationship, because you bring up a good point. Like,
that's the
how
number
often are we
one.
filling the cup of our inner child? And I notice when I go out, like on the weekends or whatnot, and like, network and talk with other guys, it is kind of surprising, like I think men, we're all trying to work so hard. We're going to the gym, we're grinding, we're stacking discipline on ourselves to outcompete, to perform, to work nonstop 10, 12-hour days, go, 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 like scale your money. But then you lose this, like, um, the fun, vulnerable, like joy of being able to be present somewhere and to like self generate your cup of fun and to just be able to like spark joy as a child with other people. And when you can actually do that, and I don't find many men that can, it's just like, it's such a hoorah. It's like, man,
Yeah.
the old days, bringing them back.
Absolutely. Yeah, men were so reserved, and it's the programming. It's really the programming. The other day I was with my son, he's a teenager, and I love getting in the water. I'm over there playing and stuff, and there's like these families that came, dads, moms, and younger kids, and it's like me and my son are like cold plunging. It was in the summer, so it wasn't too cold. But here's the thing. all the guys of this group, and there was probably 10 couples with kids, not one of the guys got in the water. They all sat there. The moms got ankle deep, and all they did was try to like tell the little kids, "Oh, don't splash, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that." It's like, wait, man, like we can't even as parents give ourselves permission to be childlike with our own children. It's just reinforcing social norms and rules and regulations. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And so if we're projecting that on our own kids, I can guarantee you you're putting it on yourself of what you can't do and shouldn't do and don't be doing that. And it's like everything that you just described, it's like I have found a way to get beyond that because, man, I'm more powerful than I've ever been. I'm 46 years young. I'm deadlifting over 500 pounds. I'm all natural. I switched up my nutrition, right? I'm living a spirit filled life. I'm the master of my time, right? I have multiple streams of income. I have financial success. I have academic success. I believe in being the total man. And
Mhm.
the missing piece for so many men, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. Then comes the financial after the physical. It will be in alignment because if working hard was able to get you rich, well, then why aren't like construction workers, roofers, road crews, janitors, why aren't they rich?
Yeah.
Military members. I mean, so it's not about hustle and hard. We need to learn. Are you ready for this? What men need to learn is to work happy, to work happy. But we're afraid. We're afraid to do it. I talk to the youth on a regular basis. When I say the youth, teenagers, what do you want to do? What's your dream? IDK, IDK, right? I don't know. And most adults are the same way because we're living someone else's dream. We felt like we have to do something. That's bullshit. You don't have to do anything. You have to switch from I have to I get to. And an example of this was just last week. I have a 5-star Airbnb rental property, right? Yeah, I'm that guy, right? I got success and I got emotional mastery and all this other stuff. But that's what happens when you align yourself with your truest self, the best version of yourself, life on life's terms. I don't have time for cheering on other people, other unless it's you and you guys are a part of the channel. We're going to build each other up, not tear each other down. It's not competitive, it's supportive. That's the community. That's the vision I have at Results Kill Excuses. But just last week, I had all this resistance because there's this new regulation where my property is. I got to jump through all these bureaucratic hoops. And I was like, it gets me mad because I know it's just an overreach and it's all this paperwork. And my therapist was listening to me hemming and hawing. And she's like, "Can I interrupt you?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." She's like, "Do you think it would help for you to go from you have to do the paperwork to you get to do the paperwork? You get to do this. You don't have to, man. If you don't want to do the paperwork, fine, but you get to." And that's anything in life. Sweet. Alrighty. Where were we? Yeah, man. Yeah, we were talking about that and just the importance, of for men, right? To really just this is the healing journey, right? This is where men specifically, women too, right? Like we all need to do this. Like a lot of the clients that I do coaching with one on one, right? There's two sides to it, right? The women are just as wounded as the men, and yet, we all need. I think that's why the dating pool is so polluted right now. Is that we're everything that we've been running to for fulfillment, for relief, for distraction. It's no longer filling us in the way that it used to, and so we're having to this message from your podcast to my message to just many many other people that have gone through this spiritual awakening are starting to speak and share, coming out of these hermit modes, right? And really start to speak life back into our culture, into humanity. I mean, my audience is global. So this isn't just a Western thing, a US thing. I mean, it's all around the world. People are searching for something more. And the answer isn't out the window. It's right there
Mhm.
in the mirror.
You know, the work that you've talked about doing with the inner child and the parent version of you, and then the you, the present you. Those are the three archetypes.
So sort of there's the inner child, the the adult, right, was is who I call G dog, right? Again, matured way, like had to grow up way too fast. And now the parent is who you're hearing right now. The man that's been talking this whole time is super dad. That's Greg, right? He's now able to show up, to hold space, to communicate, to connect, to self soothe, right? And we're all capable of doing this, but it takes a lot of times, it does take us swallowing that pride to ask for help, right? We don't Beautiful thing about this time right now, Alexander, is that, right, 12 years ago when I started this journey, guys like me didn't exist. But now it's becoming more and more every day that we now have men specifically that are stepping out, speaking up, and really like doing it in a way that's masculine. I mean, there was a lot of bias too, of like men that were sort of like into the spirituality, kind of like wusses, and that is like, man, I'm savage, bro. I'm a savage guy, but I'm also a very heart-centered man. I'm a good man, right? But I also have the ability to, I've integrated my shadow. I've done the shadow work. And that was one of the biggest breakthroughs, man, is when I was coming out of a 21-year marriage expiring at 41 years, which is, I think, shoot, man, we're almost 5 years to the day. One of the first questions I'd ask myself is, who am I? Because my whole identity was enmeshed in the relationship. I'm so and so's husband. I'm so and so's dad. I'm this job. Government ID says I'm that. And it's like, am I any of those? I was just soul searching, like, who am I? Who's gonna love me? I'm 41, you know? And it was like, I remember sitting there doing this journal exercise, just self-induced, where I was trying to do some ego strokes, like all the good things about myself, trying to build my confidence and like, it's okay, man. Like, you're going to be good. Like, you've accomplished this and you're that. And like, through divine inspiration in that moment, I literally drew a line down the middle of the page. And on the right side of the page, I wrote darkness. And on the left side was the light. And when I got done, just putting out all of that I could think of without editing, which was a big part of my upbringing, is manipulating. And, if any of us have done personality tests, it's like, I want to be accepted. So I got to kind of lie about this part of me and that. And it was just total truth. And when I got done, the lists were equalized. And for the first time in my life, the beast within, which is not an animal, it was like he came into the light. I saw him for who he was. I accepted him. And in doing that, I was then able to integrate a version of me in a way that was accepted and seen in the light, which ultimately allows for that part of me to be a force of good.
Mhm. Wow, man, that's powerful. Like it's the deep acceptance moments. And you've done this like vigorous work on yourself that not many people get to the moment where they feel like desperately they need to. And I can already see it, like how much of a change, a transformation that has happened to you in your life, which is powerful, man. Just one,
Thank you.
thank you for like going through this and being a universe like star that's been willing to like go through like a black hole to come out as a being with a heart, a peaceful warrior.
Thank you. Yeah, it's being the warrior in the garden. And the beautiful thing is I'm not just talk. I'm not here to entertain people. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm a guide. I'm going to light a fire under your ass and, hold you accountable. But one of the things, if I could share, is if you type results kill excuses into your app store right now, you can download the Results Kill Excuses app, and in there is 25 lessons for self-discovery packed into 5 courses. Well, self-discovery is when you get to that place where you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. You don't wanna continue being self-destructive, self-loathing, and again, I have, um, the first what I call the first 5 courses, kinda hard to see here, but I have workbooks. Everything there is free. So you can download the worksheets, which is a part of my teaching. We talk about the inner child. I was a public education teacher for a couple years. I've worked in higher ed for, 8 years. And so what I was able to do along this journey is transmute some of my greatest lessons, like this light and darkness expression of like self on paper, turn things that a lot of people struggle with, right? A lot of us have bad experiences in education, right? Especially kindergarten through 12th grade. A lot of resistance towards the English and writing essays. But I remember when I was a kid, if I was given an option to say, do you want to do a worksheet or do you guys want to write an essay? I was always, I'll take that worksheet, vocabulary worksheet. So the worksheets that I have in on the courses, they are worksheets, which, make journaling and scripting a lot funner. It presents it in a more of a bite-sized, simple way that you can connect with versus just like trying to say, "Ah, I gotta write." And I have videos that guide people through the courses, and there's even step by step fill in the blanks with me giving people that kind of guidance, which is a very powerful thing.
Yeah, that's incredible. I've done a lot of journaling and I know the importance of journaling. I don't do it enough personally. I need to. And I can advocate like having something prompted like that. I'll have to check this out just to help kind of focus an intention. It's almost like having you as like an intention guide of like, hey, we're going to sit down and write.
Yeah.
Let's go into our unconscious. Let's talk with our heart and our spirit. And
Mm.
there's the scope. Like here's the kind of box. Let's like focus on this and fill in the color.
Yeah. Yeah, the name of the first I call them the first 5 courses, just like our first 5 years of life are so impressionable. This is your first self-discovery. So it's, yes, I'm holding myself back, hurting people hurt themselves first, breaking up with my addictions. I've got 99 problems and positive solutions for everyone, relationship makeover. And so I've tried to make it fun, because here's the thing, this work is challenging. It's not easy work, right? We carry around a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of wish things could have been different. But I'm telling you, you have the power. If you're hearing this conversation with us today, like you're being called, you're being chosen, you're being given this opportunity. And what does that mean? It means that you have to finish the starting line. You have to finish, take that first step, that leap of faith. Because here's the truth, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. However, if you change one thing, everything changes. And giving yourself permission to try new things. This is also a very childlike part of our personality. When we become adults, we don't want to feel like a newbie. We don't want to feel stupid. Like we don't have some sense of confidence in what we're doing. So then we don't try stuff. But the truth is no one knows who they are. Like if you were to go all in on yourself, we don't know who you are. You may be the person that is like the one that changes this whole entire world. No one knows
Hmm.
until we actually try new things. We don't know what gift you're hiding. I do know that you have a gift inside of you. Every single one of us do. A big question that comes up for me a lot is people want to say, well, I don't know what my purpose is, right? You're probably asking yourself, I don't know what my purpose is. Do you want me to tell you what your purpose is? We all have, this is our number one purpose. We have different purposes, But your number one purpose is to become the best version of yourself, is to get 1% better every single day. That's your purpose. Your calling will reveal itself as you continue down this path, as you start to heal, as you start to gain more and more self awareness, self improvement, and get to that self mastery. The calling of how to express the gifts that you start to identify will definitely reveal themselves along that journey. But the purpose is just to look at yourself and say, you know what? I'm unhealthy right now. Well, why am I unhealthy? Right? It's because of what you're eating. It's because of what you're thinking. Right? Again, it's not just physical health, it's mental health, it's emotional health. What you think is how you feel. How you feel is how you move in the world. I mean, most people, let's be honest, they take better care of their cars than they do their bodies.
Let me ask you this. If people don't know their purpose, then what they know is who they've been. And what you're proposing is there's a
Mm,
change in who you are. And if the deep parts of the shadow work is this child, adult, and super parent, mother or father, depending on your
mm,
archetype,
yeah.
how how do you feel? How dynamic do you feel our identity is?
How dynamic is our identity? Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you're saying that, again, everyone in this moment is basing who they are based on their past. The past don't even exist anymore. And most of us only remember about 50% of what even happened. And so part of being a child is to have an imagination. And so it's going in and saying like, what is the deepest desires of your heart? What are your desires? What do you see for your life? Because we all have been given a vision, but because we're stuck in the past and identifying with the things that have happened, we feel like, oh no, it's too late. I'm not good enough for that. I can't do that. I'm too this, too that. And it's like, that's all lies. If you have a vision, it is not too late. I'm telling you right now. It's time to get started, but you have to start living that. And the way that you do it, again, you hit on it, the journaling. That's why everything that I put out on my end in the app, it's you have to write it down. That old adage, the pen is mightier than the sword. It is because we are all the author and the editor of our life. So here's what I tell you right now. How does your story end from this day forward? If you could choose, just fantasize for just a minute, pretend like you're a producer of a movie, happens to be your life. Do you want your life to be the same old thing it's been? Do you want to just continue to have it be worse? Or would you write the most incredible story ever told? Would you tell the most incredible comeback, the come from behind victory, the turn from rags to riches, whatever it is? What story would you write from now forward saying, how does my story end? That is the potential of what you have. Do you know where the richest place is on this planet?
The word that comes to mind is your imagination.
It's the graveyard.
Mm.
And the reason why is because that's where so many dreams have gone to die. There is something inside of you that needs to be expressed in this world. And when you listen to people interviewing 60, 70, 80-year olds, we've all seen these videos. Hey, what's something you would tell your younger self? What do they all say? I wish I would have done more things for me. I wish I would have done something that actually mattered for me instead of being the co-star and the extra in somebody else's story called life. And those are toxic traits, even in relationships, right? I first got married when I was 19. You know, like we all used to think like, "Oh, get married, the wife, the kids, the picket fence," and it's like, I literally woke up in my 30s thinking it was done. I had accomplished all that I was told mattered, and life is downhill from there. Well, I had a pretty big
Oh,
rude
don't tell me
awakening
that
at
that's what's
41
around
years
the
old,
corner.
and I had a big rude awakening saying, "Whoa, I'm just getting started." I was at the gym the other day. I love talking to people that have a lot more years on their life than me. And the most happiest, joyful guy walked in. He's 76 years old, 30 years. And I'm like, man, what are you doing here, bro? It's a Sunday afternoon. What are you doing here? Why aren't you just kicking back? And he's like, cuz I don't want to waste away. Are you wasting away right now? Ask yourself that. Are you wasting away? Why? What have you told yourself? It's too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Okay.
That's what you're writing to end your story with. Like, what are you writing right now? What are your thoughts right now?
And that's the important piece. That's why journaling matters so much. We can't, as we think we can figure it all out in our head, you can't. You got to get it out of your head. You got to put it on paper, because when you do that, you get it out of here, you can now edit. You don't have to scribble and scratch it out. You can just one line it and then write something empowering. This is part of the reprogramming process that I teach. Is you literally do need to write down all of your beliefs. A lot of us believe things that we don't believe. I know I did. When I started writing about what I thought about love, success, relationships, failure, I'm like, wait, where did this stuff come from?
Yeah. You know what? I think I need to, I'm going to, you said these are free, or how much does it cost to get these journals?
So if you download the app, in every single one of the lessons, I've uploaded these worksheets. You need a printer. So as long as you have a printer, you can print it out. If you want to support what I'm doing, you can purchase a printed, bound, and really nice quality
Yeah.
composite of all 5 of the courses, and that's you can if you download the app, it's
That's
there, right?
incredible.
And it's
Greg, that's
that's
so awesome. I'm going to buy several of these and I'm going to give them out to friends and family for Christmas.
that's sweet, man. I really appreciate that
Yeah.
support, and again, it does matter. I know that this work is worth it. You guys have all heard this, right? The greatest investment, it's not crypto, it's not gold and silver, it's not real estate. What is the greatest investment?
Greatest investment.
It's it's the one you make in yourself. Guaranteed return on the investment. You start investing in you, you start focusing on you, you start saying, I want to improve some things. It becomes the purpose of your life. And it is so fulfilling.
Yeah.
It is so fulfilling. It's guaranteed you're going to see the results.
Well, it's the self work that frees your energy up. It removes the entanglements that are blocking your energy flow. It recaptures your childlike love that vibrates and kind of fans off in like an energy around you. It connects your heart to your mind to your actions, right? If your heart and mind are aligned and you're operating at a master level, what do you think you're going to do that day?
Mm. You're going to do incredible things. And even if challenging things come up, it's like, this is going to sound arrogant and cocky and weird to some people, but I don't have bad days. I may have a bad moment, but I don't ever have a bad day, because I'm just like embracing, even if things are challenging, even if things are hard, I have a positive mental attitude, PMA, as to what can I learn from this challenge? What's the lesson here? How can I grow? How can I be a better version of me? And I reflect on that every single day. I always say, right? If you're exiting a relationship, a way to recap, if you're kind of just stewing around with, those attachments and the addiction of missing that connection, write down 2 lists. What did you do good and right in the relationship? And what could you have done better? Every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow about who? Ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And that there is another opportunity. I think life is just waves
Yeah.
of evolution. And no matter where you were at and how you fell or did felt what you fell short in, I love how you said it. Like, what did you do good? What could you do better?
Yeah,
Greg, this has
that
been
sums it all
this has
up.
been full of love, man. This pod, man, I'm like, I'm smiling from cheek to cheek now. The energy, my childlike energy that you kind of recaptured, part of it, you brought it out of me. You have a unique
Oh,
gift with your words and your heart. The message you're speaking is truth. Thank you for sharing it.
thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that's listened, and I uh I really am grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful for that, man. I'm grateful to share the love and the light inside of me, and I can tell you I wasn't always that guy. I was self-destructive, a toxic, broken guy, and if I can do it, you can do it. I can tell you this too, is if you see the light inside of me, if you see something beautiful inside of me, it's inside of you. Guaranteed. Law of attraction.
Yeah. Like a mirror, right? Like attracts like. And if you can see it in someone else, that's because you have a part of it in you.
Yeah. And that goes for anything. You see beauty, you see strength, you see wealth. If you see it, it's in you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely inside of you. There's no separation. There's no disconnect from it other than the fact that you're still operating from a lower energetic reality. And so it's once you can kind of heal and get past the energetic blockages, you really pointed that piece out, which we need to do. And it's a lot of that comes through forgiveness. That's one of the tougher lessons in life is how to forgive ourselves.
Hmm.
And in order to forgive yourself, guess what? You're gonna have to forgive others.
Yeah. Amen. And then you can finally accept yourself and go live your best life.
And then you don't Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you're insecure, you're worried about what everyone else thinks, they don't think about you. They're stupid worried about think about themselves. And once you can set yourself free, be the true and authentic version of yourself, you know you're there because you no longer judge people. I'm telling you, this is a huge measure. If you're still judging someone and based on anything, that means it's still in you. Whatever you judge someone, it's in you. And you may be like, "Oh, no, like, I think rich people are greedy, like, wealth is a big trigger for a lot of people." Well, you may not be you may be in poverty this life, but last life, you could have been a greedy SOB wrecking havoc and taking advantage of people. And you just don't wanna it's hard to see that until you truly become the greatest version of yourself. And that's actually your divine birthright. Everything that you're holding on to that's pain, suffering, anger, madness, low vibrational stuff, that's the false self. So we have to let go of all that so that we can be. I'll leave you with this. It's like trees don't compete to be the best tree. Every tree wants to be the best tree. An eagle doesn't look at the eagle next to him and say, "Well, that's you're a little bigger, have a little bigger wingspan. I'm not going to fly today because you're a better eagle." No, they just fly. Humans are the only ones that we get so stuck in our head that we don't want to be the best version of
It's
ourselves.
the peer
We don't it's a
pressure or
worthiness thing.
like a social judgment that limits our expression.
I think it's this whole experience. We're this is the game. This is the game, transcending self, transcending the conformity of the box. Breaking free of the box is realizing you're one of one. Go fly.
Dude, outstanding. Greg, thank you so much for being here. I really hope we get to do this again.
It would be my honor. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you and all the audience for being a part of this conversation. If you're hearing this message, it means you're a part of this conversation, right? And I'm cheering for you.
Outstanding. Greg Scargall, thank you for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Alexander.